Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Queso Fundido, or Queso Flameado, with Salsa Ranchera. Look, we'll get into it. Now in the northern part of Mexico and southwest United States, there's a dish of melted cheese known as Queso Fundido, which translated means literally melted cheese. Now it's often served with chorizo or any other number of toppings, and sometimes in a restaurant or party setting, it's served flambé, in which case it's known as Queso Flameado, or flamed cheese. Now this is all really simple stuff. You could probably figure out this whole thing without a recipe. So we're gonna spice things up today by also making a salsa ranchera, which is just a roasted tomato salsa. So let's jump right in by roasting off those salsa ingredients. Now today we're cooking on the Napoleon Phantom 500 gas grill. We've got kind of a unique setup here. So we've already preheated everything. I'm gonna be utilizing this rear burner back here. It's typically for the rotisserie. We're gonna put our cast iron griddle right on top to kind of deflect that heat, and it's gonna work as a broiler as we try to cook our cheese a little bit later. Now we've already got this thing preheated over high heat right here in the center, low heat on the sides. We're gonna roast off our tomatoes. We've got a couple of poblanos that will actually be a topping for the fundido. Got a couple of red jalapenos and a white onion. And we're just looking to get some char on the outside of these. Especially the peppers, we're gonna blacken those completely. We wanna soften a little bit the onion, the tomatoes, and get some color. Well, we're just about 6 minutes in here. We're looking at some of these tomatoes. They're getting good color, starting to soften. You can use just a little bit more on that. Our peppers are getting blackened on all sides. We need that skin to blister so that we can roast these, then steam them, then peel them. And our onion's just kind of trucking along there. So just under 10 minutes now. These peppers are looking really nice, blistered on all sides, so they're gonna go into a zip top bag to steam. Same with these jalapenos. Our tomatoes, we're gonna carefully turn the heat off. It's a little intense. Carefully pull these off, transfer them to the blender. So now that the components are roasted, we can bring them all together in the blender. So we'll take our grilled onion here and just give it kind of a rough chop. 2 cloves of garlic, simply crushed and peeled. Don't need to dice those up. We'll let the blender do the work. And we're gonna do about 1/4 cup of minced cilantro. I'm gonna throw a little bit of smoked salt in here as well. And then the real secret ingredient, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Sounds strange, tastes great. Our peppers have been steaming in the zip top bag. The poblanos we're gonna peel. We're gonna use the flesh as a topping for the queso. The jalapenos are actually gonna go into the salsa. So take the stems off, just split them open. You get rid of all those seeds. Get rid of all of the skin, and then throw it right into the blender. So everybody's in there now. Roasted tomatoes, our onion, jalapeno, cilantro, or Worcestershire, or garlic, and a little bit of salt. And you're just gonna kind of break that down to your desired consistency. Oh yeah, roasted tomato is at the forefront of this flavor profile. I mean, it's really about the tomato. The jalapenos add a nice little kick. It's a little bit smoky. Probably could use just another little shake of salt in here, but otherwise, this is in good shape. So we're gonna need 2 skillets to finish this out now. We've got one for our chorizo and onions that we're gonna cook on the side burner, and one for our cheese as it's melting inside the grill. Now we're using 2 different cheeses today. This is a queso chihuahua. You could use a jack cheese instead. This is Oaxaca. You could use a mozzarella in place of that, but these 2 really are my favorite for this specific recipe. And the one and only thing I want to add to it is a little bit of our 8-second ride carne asada seasoning. Low on the salt, just a little bit of spice, and a little bit of depth of flavor. So let's move that aside. The chorizo topping is 2 simple ingredients. We got 9 ounces of Mexican chorizo here and a white onion that we're just going to slice nice and thin, and we'll cook those down together in the skillet. Start out on the side burner, medium-high heat, start to cook down the chorizo. In fact, we can go ahead and add the onions at the same time. And then we're gonna throw our cheese underneath our makeshift broiler here. We'll handle all the way to this side so we can give it a good rotation here a little bit. And again, it's just crazy hot in here. I've turned the burners all the way down to low, but it's still holding around 700 degrees with all of that heat coming off of the back. No need to add any oil or fat to this skillet. There's plenty of it in the chorizo, and it's gonna start to melt out. And then those onions will just cook down in that chorizo fat. It's only been a couple of minutes here, but check that out. That browning happening on top, the melting happening underneath. We're gonna make sure we do that evenly, so we're gonna spin it now. So only about 5 minutes total now. You can see our cheese is fully melted. We're browned on top. It's moving. We're gonna pull this out of here before it starts to separate. Now we can see how most of that moisture is cooked out of the chorizo now. Our onions have softened, fairly translucent, so this is ready to come off the side burner. But we're gonna stick right here to warm up some tortillas to serve with our queso fundido. Now these are homemade pork fat flour tortillas that you can check out in last week's video if you want to make these from scratch. We're just going to give them a really quick warm, a little bit of char. All right, so hot off the grill here, we're going to add our chorizo topping. And kind of mix that in as you're digging into this. The best way to eat this stuff is just spooning it right into those fresh tortillas. Let's hit it with a little bit of our salsa on top. You can always add more later. We've got some roasted poblanos, a little cilantro, and there you have your queso fundido. Now if we're gonna go full queso flameado, you're gonna get your alcohol, something high proof. You can even just use Everclear because you really won't be able to taste it. It just flames up nicely. And torch it. That alcohol will burn right off. You'll never really know it was there. It's just for the show. So we're just gonna load up our flour tortillas now. Get a little bit of everything. Chorizo, onion, poblano, cheese. We'll top it off with a little bit more of that salsa ranchera. Let's get a bite. Wow. It's so good every time. And it's melted cheese, like how can you go wrong? But everything that we spice it up with, the chorizo, the onion, the poblano, lots of smoke going on, and that salsa ranchera is a nice little finishing touch. Every time I eat these pork fat flour tortillas though, they're one of my favorite parts of the meal. I don't know how to make people happier. This is about it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.